Uja, greetings. So we'll continue with our examination into the pyramid mysteries, their basic esotericism. And basic because could take many years studying it. And so we're just going to hit some points that may help people to understand what was going on here and what they're about. So this is not intended to be an exhaustive examination because that can take a few years to cover. So the term merd, you see here the owl and the opened mouth, submerged with the determinative of a pyramid with a base. And this is the term that is translated to mean pyramid. And in this rendition, Murdu, which is plural, so Murdu means a single pyramid one. And Murdu is plural, so more than one. Again, you have the owl, the opened mouth, the chick, and the determinative. The chick gives the oo sound, and which indicates plurality, along with the ideogram for plurality. Another ideogram is the variant on the Ankh symbol, which is not pronounced. So what it means is that the Murdu is the mechanism of self-discovery of immortality. So that gives an indication that these structures are metaphysical objects that were created for the purpose of the spiritual evolution of the soul. So Murdu, the search or the path of discovery of immortality. And here, looking from a northerly direction towards the south, you see the very large one, the Khufu, and the Khafra one with the limestone still at the apex. And then standing east, looking towards the west, you see the Sphinx monument, the Horma Akid, looking towards the east. And we'll discuss more about this later in this dissemination. And behind the Horma Akid is the east-facing side of the Khafra pyramid, or the Merit. And here is the walk up. This is the corridor that leads to the Merit. So in ancient times, they would do, and this picture was taken in 2021. They would do walk-ups here. They would do processions. So you can imagine the priests and priestesses chanting hymns, etc., walking up here. preparing for their spiritual practices that were performed. And here, standing south, looking towards the north, when you see the like northwest, looking towards the northwest, you see the large one. And again, you can see how they're related, how they're lined up with each other. And all of this is going to come back. So keep these alignments in mind. So we're going to discuss them more later. Now, to give us an indication of what these pyramids, what are referred to as pyramids, were used for, you have to take a glimpse of what is on the inside. In this dissemination, we're going to look at what's on the outside first, and then we're going to take a look at what's on the inside. But here, on the left, is what is referred to as the Grand Gallery of the Khufu Pyramid. And you can see there are no inscriptions on the wall. The walls are bare. And this is throughout the entire structure. There are no inscriptions on the walls. But if you go to, I put a little map here. And here's Giza. If you take a 40-minute drive and you go to Saqqara, you go into smaller pyramids that the outsides are dilapidated, but you go inside and you find what I refer to as the pyramid text. So you find text. And this is me inside the Pyramid of Teta, perusing the text. I was pointing out something here to someone who was there, the group. And this is, and these writings are dated to 5000 BCE. That's the common accepted date, could be older. So the major point is that in the smaller ones, there are texts. And in the massive ones, the larger ones, there are no texts. And that relates to that these large ones. So you would go to Saqqara for philosophy, mystic interpretation, mythology. And you go to the Giza ones for metaphysical praxis. So you don't need study, you don't need reading, you don't need lots of talking when you go into the larger ones. When you go into the larger ones is to go through a process, a spiritual process, culminating in a meditative practice that we're taught to the initiates, a specific meditative practice. And it is told that there are no hieroglyphs on the large ones. Like there is no hieroglyphs anywhere. But if you look closely, you will see that there is a large hieroglyph. And this is on the northern wall of the Khufu pyramid. And the hieroglyph is actually made by these 4 stones that look like they're pointing up, making an arrow. And to give greater context, I'll show this photo. So you can see more closely, these 4 stones. And they're probably 50 or 60 tons. They're huge. And they're making a hieroglyph. And this is the proper and original entrance of the structure, which is about 56 feet from the base, up from the base on the northern side. You can see people here that got caught in the photo, and you can see their relative size, their size relative to the structure. So this is a massive structure with over 2 million stones, many weighing 40, 50 tons each. So the issue is then, what does this hieroglyph mean? And how does it relate to this structure? If they put it here at the entrance, then it must have some significance. And we'll discuss a little bit about that now. So here it is. And what it relates to is this divinity. Hapi Asar, which is a bovine male cow divinity. And you can see he has the crescent moon and the sun disk on his head, standing here in front of a table of offerings. And these photos were taken from placards in the Louvre Museum. And if we take, here is the term Hap, and here is the term Asar. So Hap Asar, Hapi Asar. If we take from this rendition and turn it 45 degrees, about 45 degrees, you get the same symbol. You get the hieroglyph. And others are written outright in this manner. And here's the opening. So I put them side by side so you can see. So Hapi Asar. More renditions. Here's a priest pouring a libation to Hap Sa'ank. So it's here he's being related, again, the crescent moon and the sun disk. He's being related to the term Sa here is indicating manifestation. The term Sa means sun, but here it's relating to manifestation. So manifestation, the hidden spirit manifestation into the process of life, which is the union of spirit and matter. So the hidden spirit manifesting as life. And here he is again, this time with the sun disk and the serpent within the sun disk, tying him in closely with Heteru and the lunar disk with Jehuti and himself as Asar, the moon. And here's the name again. So Asar, Hapi, Sa. So hidden spirit manifesting. And in Anunian theology, he's known as the hidden soul. So the hidden soul manifesting, and the hidden soul, and in Memphite theology, the glorious soul. So essentially, the magnificence of the soul that is beyond time and space conception. And this hidden soul is actually referring to you, this glorious soul. So when the initiate enters here, they're entering into the process of discovery of the essence of soul that manifests as creation. So the spiritual initiate is on a path of discovery of one's own true divine nature. Here, he is sitting on a shrine, and he is laying down. If you see how cows lay down, and there's a hawk on his back. You see the wings here, relating to Isis, to Aset. Again, the crescent moon, the sun disk. And here he's relating to he is the container of the eye of infinity. To watch it, the eye of deep penetrative insight into the nature of spirit. And he's known as Asar, Hapi, Kenti, Shekhemt, the city of power. So Asar, Hapi, the ruler in the city of power, great power, which is the city of spirit nature. And behind him is the goddess Aset. You can see her like caressing the rump. So and she's projecting projecting the essence of the nature of that which is spirit, that is noble, a true experience beyond mind. So intuition, knowing without cognition, without thinking, without cognitive process. And this term happy, and you can see here, perere, with the determinative of happy. So perere relates to the cycle of the spirit soul. For example, death to birth, which essentially is ignorance to resurrection. Makiru, so ignorance to enlightenment. Which the term Makiru means spiritual enlightenment, true of speech. So you're going through the cycle of the spiritual process that leads to spiritual enlightenment. That's why you come here. That's why you're allowed to come in here as a spiritual initiate. So that's what these structures are about. A normal human being is unaware of their true divine nature. That's why they're angry, they yell at people, they do nefarious things. And it can get really bad. It can hurt the environment, they can hurt other people, they can drop bombs on each other. Ignorance. And if a human being purifies themselves to a certain degree, talking now about the spiritual evolutionary process, then they are allowed to walk. You're allowed to walk here and walk up to these monuments, these metaphysical devices, and enter into the process of the discovery of the true nature of self. But you have to do preliminary practices and purifications before you're allowed in. And notice here that you have the initiate in worship to Asar Hapi. And the symbol for Bedet is above the whole scene. So Bedet is presiding over the worship of Asar Hapi. And essentially, it's the worship of the hidden spirit within oneself through its stand-in, which is Hapi the bull. The term Hap, the determinative of the legs, means to advance, to move forward. So to enter this place, to advance on a path to the cycle of spirit soul. That's what this means. That's what this symbol means. You're entering here to go through cyclical process from ignorance to divinity. So you're walking this path to rediscovery of one's own true divine nature. So in other words, this is a Assyrian mystery. So the basis of the Meru, what are commonly referred to as pyramids, is the Assyrian resurrection. And the Meru is where the spiritual practitioner goes to actualize the premise of the Assyrian resurrection myth, which is the ultimate victory of Heru over Set. Right, so the Meru is the location of the cognitive, metaphysical, and meditative practices, the meditative equipoise that is attained to discover that which is spoken of in the Assyrian myth, which is the victory over egoism. And what that entails is discovering absolute consciousness, which is beyond name and form, beyond cognition, beyond relative reality. And these three pyramids relate to the star system Orion. They line up with Orion in the year 10,000 BCE, somewhere about 10,000, 10,500 BC. So the Orion star system is a metaphysical, cosmic structure that is plugged into the pyramids, the Meru. And you can utilize those energies, the energies from, and it's specifically Orion's belt. So you can utilize those energies in a certain specific way that causes an expansion in consciousness. And actually, you can make unification with, depending upon which one that you use, determines which star that you can make unification with through your astral body, meaning your Ka. If you coalesce the energies of your Ka through your Sekhem, you would be able to project your Ka upwards towards the star system and essentially unite with it. You can do it for all three. And that's the series of practices that were performed. So these structures are designed for when it says resurrection, what it really means is that you're laying recumbent in ignorance of one's own true divine nature. So the person is unhappy, they're angry, they're upset all the time, they can commit murder, they can steal, because there's an absence of truth. But if the personality purifies themselves and take on the metaphysical process, they can go through a series of disciplines that leads to discovery of one's own true divine nature. And as the teaching says, become godlike through spiritual discipline and control of your body, control of your mind, and elimination of passions. And that's why the spiritual aspirants will come here. And here, okay, so we're going into a different direction. So this is a good place to stop. And when we come back, we're going to discuss the mysteries of the Benben. And that will give more the mysteries of the Meru. Okay, dua everyone, and dua for a nice devotional with nice feelings, etc. Dua saru ne fenetera, dua sa era du, dua sa ne jeta, dua sa sute ne. Asar, 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 asar. Patan.